Hey there, and welcome back to this episode of Stay Sharp in Digital Engineering. I'm really glad you're here, and we're excited to talk a little bit more about a company today who we don't really know a whole lot about, and that's the whole purpose of our digital product series, is to get to know some of these companies as well as their products. We hope you enjoy this one. So today we talk with, again, Devin Patel, who is the head of solutions at First Resonance, to learn a little bit more about the company and the way they serve their customers. We look at how First Resonance is redefining manufacturing operations with their platform, Ion, which is a modular, data-driven factory operating system. So from speeding up prototyping to scaling complex hardware production, Devin shares his real-world examples, some insights on agility, and how some startups and established manufacturers are embracing this new way of manufacturing, which allows for rapid iteration and rapid innovation. Let's jump in. Welcome back, everybody, to Stay Sharp in Digital Engineering, the podcast about all things digital related to products from engineering, manufacturing, service, and more. I'm one of your hosts, Julianne Grant, and I am joined today by my co-host, Jonathan Scott.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Jonathan.
Good to be back.
It's always good to be back in the hot seat. It is. So, and today we are doing another episode in our digital product series, and we are talking about First Resonance. So maybe you've heard of them. Maybe you've always wanted to know a little bit more about some of the things that they do. So today, the goal is to uncover some of that and dive into what they're doing and get to know them better. So to do that, we invited a special guest with us today who's been on our podcast before, Devin Patel. Hey, Devin. Great to have you back.
Julia and Jonathan, feels good to be back. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Good to see you again, buddy.
Always good to see you. We enjoyed our conversation last time, so make sure you check out that episode. I'll put that link in the notes so folks don't miss that. But let me tell you a little bit about Devin. Devin is the head of solutions at First Resonance. He is helping pioneering manufacturers transform how hardware is built with Ion Factory OS. So he brings nearly a decade of experience in IoT, AI, and AR-powered manufacturing systems at companies like Mitsubishi Electric, Drishti, and PTC, and where he partnered with leading enterprises to modernize operations. So Devin specializes in bridging technical depth with business impact, shaping how advanced manufacturing embraces AI, open platforms, and the digital thread. And I had to add a new fun fact in here. So in addition to his passion to technology, Devin is a big-time Boston sports fan. Someone out of my own heart, I got to say. So we are spoiled here, and we do like to brag, and loves being outside and being active. So thanks for being here, Devin.
Anything to get me outside. I like being in front of my computer in a technical sense, but also just like being outside, going for walks, and just being out in the sun. So
yes,
as long as I can do those two things every day, I'm good.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Computer's good. I love it as a job. I like to get outside.
Yes. Beyond the screen.
With that, I want to jump right in. I want to set the stage for a few questions, make sure everybody's kind of level set. And I've got a little bit of an unfair advantage, although that intro probably gives everybody a little more catch up than I'm thinking. But to tee us up, I want everybody to think outside the box a little bit as we get into the conversation today, right? So a lot of the episodes we do in this series, talking to different software vendors who are bringing things in the digital engineering and manufacturing space, you kind of put them in a box, right? And at least we try to, as we get started on the episode, you're walking through the store, what aisle, what shelf, right? So that everybody kind of knows what we're talking about as we get in. But for today, I know we're speaking about the manufacturing space. That's clear from Devin's background and what we're talking about. But just open your mind a little bit, right? Try not to think in that what aisle, what shelf, what software category does this fit in? Because I think that really helps you understand them a bit more. So just to tee that up for folks, let me ask you, Devin, in your own words, how do you guys define digital engineering and manufacturing and where you fit into that picture?
Right. I think it's a little bit unconventional, I would say. But for us, it's about connecting the dots between people, processes, data, and having it all work together instead of having it in different silos. So think the foundation of your stack. So I think really often engineering is in one corner, and then we have the supply chain team, and then we have production somewhere else, and fires are popping off every day that need to get fixed. And no one really has the full picture. So where we fit in is creating that connective tissue. So what gets designed from a design engineering perspective, what gets designed, what actually gets built, and then visibility the whole way through. The other part of it is connecting that to your supply chain. And if anything goes wrong out in the field, how do we fix that? Bringing all that under one roof is our biggest goal. And doing that in a way that doesn't strain the team from a technical perspective is something that we take a lot of pride in.
Yeah, so I'm going to say something, again, in service of what I was introducing a minute ago. A lot of people may quickly hear, oh, MES, right? They're still doing the aisle shelf thing. Yeah. And I think a couple of things that you mentioned that I just want to highlight, the difference here is supply chain, is design, is the focus on connecting everything together. So don't just think MES when you hear what Devin said. I just want to underscore that.
Yes. So oftentimes we get put in that MES box, and that's true. We are very good at MES system in the traditional sense, but we also bring in a lot of elements of a financial system, ERP system. People have separate QMS systems, but how can you have a separate QMS system and an MES system when they're both supposed to solve the same problem? And so even working with customers that have systems in place already, we're not just going to overtake what they do. We're going to say, hey, these are the problems you have to solve. This is what you love about what you're currently doing technically. Let's fill in the gaps. Let's make sure we cover up those holes. We don't make it too hard for anyone else that's already very used to a certain system that solves a problem really well. We don't want to add any strain to their life. We want to make sure that you solve all of your use cases as efficiently as possible.
In the broad sense of digital manufacturing, what is your, UVP, unique value proposition?
And so for us, like when we look at traditional systems, we did talk about this last time we had the conversation. It takes a long time to implement. It costs a lot of money, but then consulting services, implementation services, maintenance services, those all add up over time. And they're built for repeatable work where everything is figured out. And by that, I mean a company's been around for a long time. They're making some iterations, but those iterations take a long time to actually get into production. And today is a little bit different. Companies are learning that they can adjust and that it's okay for them to adapt or change how they do things. And then we're talking to companies that are growing, and maybe they're not just committed to the mission that they have, but maybe sometimes they're getting pressure, external pressure, or pressure from investors, or pressure from raising money, or maybe, hey, this is a new problem that relates directly to what we're doing. Why don't we try to solve this one too? And the only way to do that is by making real-time changes and having the ability to scale in real time without having serious consequences. So what we want to do is help those companies start fast, move fast, not create any blockers in the future for building and scaling something too quickly. So being very agile in that sense, but helping them move fast without losing control. You can lose control very quickly. So we see a lot of companies that are in spreadsheets and they are moving faster than they should if they're managing everything in Excel or Jira. And they're doing a pretty good job at it. They figured out some workarounds there, but eventually they'll get to a point where that's not enough and something serious might happen. We want to make sure that we can solve that problem for them, help them move just as fast, if not quicker. But then when they scale and they're really getting up to startup speed, but they have enterprise level traceability that they have to adhere to and compliance, we want to make sure that issue never arises for them and they can do both at the same time. So fewer surprises, fewer delays, more confidence in what you're building, and just more freedom to make decisions in real time and not worry about breaking something.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, and I hear you in that answer, even sort of differentiating, like, folks that maybe we aren't the best fit for, and to compare that against the folks that we are the best fit for, people who need something different, and that you guys are trying to offer that different thing. So break that down or spell that out for us a little more clearly. Who are your primary customer segments or industries, or however you break it down? Like what looks like an ideal customer for you? And even are there places where, like you were describing, it doesn't fit? So you kind of people understand again where to put you.
Great question. And so for us, it is advanced and complex hardware. So the easiest one for us to say in terms of an example is aerospace and defense, because that industry is changing. You have new teams popping up, new manufacturers popping up that are doing things very quickly. We're also talking about climate tech. We're also talking about robotics. There's also autonomous vehicles, autonomous robotics, underwater vehicles, energy, especially nuclear energy. Those are all great industries for us, as well as new medical device companies that are coming up that aren't necessarily lean. And I know you asked a question of what industries are we not looking at. So at one of the last startup I was at before I came to First Resonance was a company called Drishti. So Drishti was computer vision for lean manufacturing. So think automotive use cases. You have a camera, you're supposed to do something exactly the same way every time. And even if you deviate the order of the step, or if you did something twice, that could add 2 seconds to your cycle time, and you're seeing pretty significant inefficiencies in just those small little things going wrong. Think the opposite of that. So we don't really touch that. What we do is make sure that teams that are building something extremely complex, that are working with a number of vendors and suppliers of their own, they have to manage all of them. They have to manage design changes, and then as they're going through production, being able to iterate those designs in real time, that's the sweet spot for us. But because what we're doing is building a foundation to help them scale, our customers eventually will get to a point where they are more lean in their process than they are right now. They're not just designing and iterating all the time. So what we're able to do is grow their digital travelers and grow their digital work instructions to make it easier and more efficient for them once they become a little bit more lean, but not to the point where they become an automotive lean manufacturing company. So
you're not the guys to help them. You're not there to help them dial it in and get that next little incremental thing they need, like high volume, that kind of thing. You're hey, we're trying to figure out what we're doing. We're trying to do it fast, and we might have high variability, and we need to adapt and change. You're those guys.
Where things are really messy. You bring us in to help you solve those problems. And we can make it a little bit cleaner, but we want to keep it just like a little bit messy, because that means you're moving the needle and you're trying new things,
Right.
Yeah.
But just giving you that foundation to make sure you feel comfortable where you're at is really important to us in our company.
So let's talk a little bit about how you go to market. Do you work directly with customers? Do you work with partners, OEMs, or?
Yeah, so we work directly with our customers. So our customers become our partners, and we love to become a part of their team. And for them, speed matters. So if they need something out of the tool or in the tool, we talked about a modular approach last time, maybe they just all of a sudden need an MRP engine because they got an order of 2,000 items that they need to produce. Hey, how do we figure out what we need and what we need to buy? And because speed matters so much, we partner with them. We go on sites. And then everyone will get their own dedicated manufacturing success manager. Think of it like a consulting engagement where you have your PM, and then you have maybe your architect, or in this case, we'll bring in someone like an integrations resource from Razorleaf to be a part of our team. And we will work very much as a team. Our product team is very much involved with our customers. And so when we're looking at our product roadmap for the iterations, changes, improvements that we want to make to our tools that we create, that's coming directly from our customers. What do our customers need us to do for them to succeed more? That's what goes in, and it's very much a two-way relationship between us and our customers. And again, we take a lot of pride in what we do, but we're very proud to partner with our customers because they are just some of the most innovative, companies that we've ever seen.
Perfect way for me to ask the next question. You talked about a couple of people last time on our last episode, but are there any customer stories or case studies or anything that you'd want to highlight that would really help the audience kind of know, like, yeah, this is who we are. This is the kind of stuff we do.
Yeah, I think one that comes to mind that's pretty inspiring, and they're right down the street here. We're based in Southern California, in El Segundo, is Epirus. I mean, they're just started out as a small team, and they very much were our typical use case, where they went from prototype to field ready directed energy systems in under a year. And they did it just by focusing on speed, visibility from the start. And they've gone contracts. They've had at least 4 or 5 new designs to their main products since they've been a customer of ours. And they've moved fast, and they're also continuing to iterate. So they're not done with their prototyping phase. They're still prototyping, and they're still in production. And instead of having to do one before the other, because we've been able to partner with them, they've gotten so comfortable doing both at the same time that they don't really care if they have a new prototype or if they change something in one of their designs. They're always going to be in production anyway. So we just gave them a huge head start, and they've given us a lot of feedback too about the product and what they need. They obviously started with us, and they've gotten a new ERP system in place, and they've grown the company a significant amount. They have a very large facility. And so for us, they were doing a lot of prototyping, design, and testing, and they've helped us iterate the product to adhere to that a little bit more too.
Well, that certainly highlights the kind of partnership you were talking about, right? Where, you're giving them what they need, but they're giving you that feedback to help you grow your product as well. What was the name of that again? Epirus, you said?
Epirus.
Epirus, okay.
Epirus, Epirus, yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the history of the company, since I don't really know too much about the company story, and maybe a little what's the culture like there. So if you're into these really innovative areas, it must be interesting.
There's a term called the SpaceX Mafia. So a lot of really innovative, engineers and people that were at SpaceX went out, and I think working there, they realized that you can do things a little bit differently. You can create new products and you can move faster. And we also have, people from Northrop and NASA and really innovative startups that work in efficiency for engineers. And we started in about 2018. And, after seeing how rigid systems, held back fast-moving manufacturers, I think, the company really came together and solve the problem of needing to move quickly. And we often outpaced the tools that were available for a lot of our customers there. And so I think that experience kind of led to us building Ion. I should probably introduce Ion. Ion is our product. And we talked about being put into an MES box a little bit earlier. So we have a term called factory operating system. And it really does encompass everything we are trying to do and every problem we're trying to solve. We're not just trying to solve one small problem for our customers. We really do serve as a foundation for their entire factory. And then if you want to add things into it, you absolutely can. And it'll be all under this one piece of connective tissue that's going to give you iteration, control, traceability over everything you're doing. And I think that's a big reason why I came here. So I originally started, my background's originally in mechanical engineering, concentration aerospace. And then I went to a company that had enterprise customers, so think Boeing, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, John Deere, that kind of stuff. And everything was on an on-prem system. If we made an update to a product, and I was a consultant there, then if there were any customizations that were made before that update, we would have to
go rework them
platform and do another implementation and iteration. And it took so long. It took a lot of time, effort, energy, consulting hours. Designs weren't coming in because we needed to import new BOM data. And so when I started understanding what I wanted to do next, and I saw First Resonance, and I really just connected with the mission of this company. And so their ability to work with manufacturers, but then also when I talk about our customers iterating and prototyping and being able to go into production right away, it's the same thing for us the other way around with our product. We're able to make changes in real time and give our customers real updates and improvements without them having to wait for a new release or a new update or a new change. So it really is a two-way street. And I think that was a very interesting concept to me because it just kind of blew my mind. I didn't even realize that existed. And then being able to collaborate closely with our customers and really feeling like we're a part of their team. And so I'm not a traditional mechanical or aerospace engineer anymore, but just working that closely with them and feeling like I'm one sometimes too is really nice to kind of go back to my roots.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's one of the things I love about consulting, right? And the work that we do at Razorleaf is you get on board, you work with the client's team, you get to sort of feel like that part of things again and their mission, and then you get to move on to the next and help them and move on to the next. But I know what you mean. So I want to sort of pivot off that, piece about your culture, and that's pretty interesting. You guys are obviously you're new, you're young, you're hungry, you're doing innovative things. Talk to me about the future. Where are you guys headed? Company, product, just in general. Like, what are you guys after, and where do you see things going?
A lot of change is going to happen in the next few years. Not anything different to what we already do, but more just addition. So we're growing pretty fast. So we had to just move to El Segundo from downtown LA because our team is growing pretty rapidly. And We're built on top of an open API, and for the listeners, all that means is we can connect to just about anything with endpoints. So we can bring information in, pull information out, and then we're able to add different rules, automations, customizations, and not overtake any other elements of our tool. So kind of simplifying that down. That also gives us the ability to really go and dive deep into agentic frameworks and AI. And I know AI is a big buzzword. Everyone's adding LLMs to everything they're doing, and I get it, and that makes sense to me. But there's another element of this, especially when it comes to manufacturing, where because of the way our tool is constructed, we're able to add in agentic frameworks so people can people can solve issues that have been persistent the entire time they've been in production. So we're talking about repetitive work, so people can start innovating and stop having to take a step back, look at their database tables and solve problems. So like imagine something that's going to reshuffle your schedule automatically when a part is late, because we know vendors and suppliers, they have their own schedules, they have their own problems. A part comes late or a quality issue is flagged. Maybe it's some kind of remove and replace disposition if an operator technician's working on something and they have a faulty part. So imagine a situation where that happens. It's something that happens all the time in manufacturing before it leaves the line. We want to know where that's headed. In the future, what we're going to be able to do is automate the process of reshuffling everything else happening in production so that you're always working on the most critical task at that time to meet any goals you have to adhere to in the future. So how are we going to rebalance our line? When do we need to, if we have a certain order of operations that we need to follow and something goes wrong, what is the next best thing we can do instead of just going into MS projects and just manually reshuffling your schedule? And then we're able to, the way our product is built is kind of tables under the hood. And so what we're able to do is actually take information from those tables and also give you the LLM that everyone wants, which is that chatbot for, what is my throughput for the day? What's my first pass yield? How many people are what are my time analytics like? And so being able to automate as much as we possibly can for you and then give you access to information instantly is going to be the future. It's the future of manufacturing. And we're excited to be in a position where we're lucky enough to work on solving that problem right now.
So it's almost like I don't know if simulation is the right word, but you'll simulate, or try to do predictive scenarios of what could go wrong, what happens if here, is another material over there, that kind of a thing.
And forward forecasting, the materials is a really good use case to understand what it is, because it's really easy to say, all right, how do I need to reallocate all the resources that I currently have right now to adhere to the builds or deadlines that I have in the future? There's another part of it, which is connecting the dots between all of your different systems and also using it to automate tasks or create rules and automations that might actually help you with other parts of your tech stack that aren't just us. And so MRP is going to be great, material resource planning. But also I think for us, the future isn't just digital, it's kind of just adaptive and resilient. So even small teams can kind of punch above their weight and do that if they're automating the right things.
That's interesting. It clearly sounds like you're headed in that agentic AI direction. And like you said, everybody's talking about it, but it feels like you've got kind of a vision directly based on the tech you're coming from. But it's also, even though it's new stuff, it's right in line with sort of where you're at culturally, what you guys are trying to do. Like take a small group of people, help them be nimble and punch above their weight, like you said.
And it's something we're excited about. I think we take a lot of pride in trying to do things differently. Not just different to be different, but different in the sense that our customers have real problems. They're working on tasks that are extremely valuable to the world. And we want to help them get there as quickly as possible. And even we've made some really strong improvements to our product. And a lot of that's going to come out in the next few months here. So kind of front end changes, back end changes, making it more stable, giving our customers the ability to create new rules and automations on their own without us. So they could do that before, but now they can do it a lot faster and they're not going to have to code to make that happen. And we're using even a lot of the tools and practices when it comes to an agentic framework to add those improvements to our tool that we're planning on giving to our customers. And so we're using it to build, and then we're going to help our customers use it to build. And it's going to be very much a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? Giving them sort of the same access to how you're building quickly to help them build quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. So really, really excited about the future. There's a lot to do. There's a lot,
No doubt.
a lot we have to get done, but we're excited.
Well, what's nice about it is you used the word freedom before, and it really does sort of lift the veil of, what's possible, right? And so, you think about the spirit of SpaceX, and, that's certainly more well publicized than some of the things that you're doing, but it's that same spirit of, if we can try to beat that, we're going to beat that. It's a stupid joke, but when I'm in the car, you do the GPS, it's like time to beat. When you get a location, it's like, okay, let's just figure out how to get better than that. So,
yeah.
Well, anyway, this has been a great conversation, Devin, and we want to be careful of time. So why don't we move into our summary? And Jonathan, what are your thoughts about this conversation?
Yeah. So let me try and wrap up what I think I heard, and then jump in, Devin, where I missed something. But I'll start back at the beginning about what aisle, what shelf, right? And what I heard, what I would have said at the beginning changed a little bit as you spoke. You used a good key word. So I would have said MES plus, more than MES, right? Remember, it's not just that. That's not the box that it fits in. But then you said something really important, factory operating system, right? So what do you use to operate your factory? Right. And if you think about it in those terms, that feels like what you're really talking about. That might be better what aisle, what shelf than MES. I think the other thing I heard is unique value prop, it's the ability to change fast. So it's about speed, right? While under control. And that's another important piece. And hopefully that resonates with everybody. Resonates, sorry. When you hear, yeah, exactly. Well, not really, but then it made sense. So, but in the manufacturing space that you're thinking, yeah, fast, that sounds great, buddy. But, if I'm doing really highly critical things, highly complex things, I need to do it under control. And you made that point. And I think that's important. Fast, but under control. It's not Excel Wild Wild West. It's a system, but it's able to adapt and change quickly. I think other things I heard, where does that fit? All right, advanced complex manufacturing, right? So we're talking about defense, we're talking about robots, climate tech, energy, med device. Those are the kinds of things that you mentioned. And the way that you characterized it, I like this. One thing is it's not high volume. It's not where we're trying to dial in that next little bit of efficiency because we're making $1 million a year. It's not that. It's we're new. Your product is new. You're evolving it. You're figuring out. You're pivoting. It's messy. You need to adapt quickly. That's where it fits. So other things I heard, how do you get there? How do you come to market? You partner with customers, right? So you're doing a lot of work directly with customers. You do bring partners in. You involve other people. You bring people onto your team, but you're doing a lot of that work directly. And in terms of highlighting something that people might understand, I love the story you used, right? Epirus. I keep wanting to mispronounce it. I'm like, I wrote it down, but
amazing.
The story resonated for me, though. I used it again. Anyway, about, in a year, being able to sort of do that evolution and get into product development, multiple products, and put something like this in place, that's fast, right? I think everybody can appreciate that and appreciate the kinds of things you were saying that they're doing. Culture-wise, you guys, I think the SpaceX, everybody that resonates with them, hopefully that everybody sort of zeroes in on, all right, I get it. It's the go fast, break stuff, fail fast, fix it, repeat, iterate, that rapid pace of change. So you guys culturally are a lot like what you're encouraging your customers to do. It's almost a eat your own dog food kind of thing. Hey, we're trying to do it with our own product, and we're encouraging customers to do it with their own factory operating system. Put it in place, adapt it, change it, adjust, that kind of thing. And then I guess the last thing I heard about where you're headed, it's not a big surprise that it would be, agentic and AI based, but you're trying to take this fast adaptability and make it even faster, make people be able to automate more and do things with a smaller team, punch above their weight, right? That's another one that you said that I think makes a lot of sense. So that's what I heard out of the conversation about who you guys are, where you fit, what you're doing, what you're trying to change about the world. What did I miss in terms of the message that you'd want our listeners to hear and understand when they hear First Resonance? Okay, yeah, all that, but don't miss this either.
Yeah, I think for us, what excites me the most is we want to make it so a 10-person startup can have the same visibility and control, like you just said, as an enterprise company, an enterprise level manufacture, but still move at the pace of a startup. If we can make that happen, then we did what we need to do successfully in building this product. And for us, when it comes to what the future looks like, I think we've made some pretty incredible changes as a company because we listened to our customers and it was going to be this big undertaking and we just went for it and we did it. And I think that comes from the inception of the company in the first place. And the thought process that our original founders had coming in here is where we are going to do things differently. We know they're going to be hard, but we're not afraid to go for it. We're not afraid to fail. We're not going to take our failures onto our customers because we're going to make sure we do everything in the staging environment first. But we are going to succeed, and we're going to succeed fast, and we're going to make sure that we can give our changes, our success, our iterations, our product to our customers as quickly as we possibly can so they can go and change the world. That's our goal, and we're excited about it. And again, we're growing fast. We're getting a lot of new customers in, and we just keep learning, iterating, and we will continue to do so.
Awesome. I love it.
That's great. What I really love is the whole redefining factory operating systems, because, MES, well, not that you're MES, but that space has this sort of heaviness to it. It's like it's big and it's awkward and it takes some time and it's got some legs to it. And so what you're trying to do is just change that whole thing and just make it faster, go faster, adaptable, and help people solve problems real fast. So that's excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you guys progress as the year goes on here and moving into 2026. And as always, when we have great guests, we always like to leave the door open for more conversations. So we'd love to have you back, Devin, at another time. Maybe talk a little bit more about some of your use cases.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to be back. So I'll take the invite anytime.
All right, that's awesome. So with that, everybody, we appreciate your time. Thanks, Jonathan, for being here. Thanks to Devin for being here. And we appreciate you listening in and tuning into our episodes. If you have any questions for Devin, please be sure to leave us a comment on our post. Make sure if you like our post, if you enjoyed this conversation. And with that, we appreciate your time. And everybody, make sure you stay sharp. Thanks for being here and listening to this episode of Stay Sharp with Razorleaf. Hey, if you like this podcast, please be sure to hit that like button. We really appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your podcast platform of choice, or subscribe to us on YouTube. Now, if you have any questions for Devin about First Resonance, please be sure to leave us a comment or post us or send us an email to podcast@razorleaf.com. We'll be sure to get that to him. Until next time, everybody, stay sharp.